the Red Wings are in action this evening against the Washington Capitals at home, which I mentioned, not many more chances to see the Red Wings at home until after the Olympic break. As a matter of fact, it's tonight and then on Saturday at home against the Colorado Avalanche. And then that's it. Next home game isn't until March 4th. So, wow. So it's a long time. But the Red Wings looking to bounce back. In the last game, a loss. 3-1 against the LA Kings. And we mentioned on yesterday's edition of the program, Red Wings looking a little sluggish in that game. Just really couldn't get consistent good chances in the zone. And meanwhile, again, Kings playing their game. That kind of, physical, kind of junkyard type of scoring and stuff like that. And the Red Wings not able to get the win. But the Red Wings still have been playing very well lately. I mean, really since the start of December, this team has been playing very well. But, I mean, really since the start of January. They started, of course, with back-to-back losses to the Penguins. And then they ripped off a 4-game winning streak, including wins against the Senators, Canadiens, and Hurricanes. They then lost to the Bruins 3-0. And then a 5-game winning streak. Sharks, Senators again, Maple Leafs. I actually misread it. It's not a 5-game winning streak. 3-game winning streak. They then lost in overtime to the Wild. Bounced back with a 5-1 win against the Jets. And then lost against the Kings. But the Capitals. This is a team that not only have the Red Wings already won a couple of games against this season, but this is a team that's been really struggling. So back in December, a little over a month ago, we had another one of those home and homes. Although this was a true home and home, a back-to-back that weekend before Christmas. On the Saturday, the Red Wings went down in their joint, getting the 5-2 win against the Capitals. And then on the Sunday, back in Detroit, getting a big 3-2 win in overtime. But in that stretch, the Capitals have just been really faltering. They started, obviously, last season. We should actually go back 2 seasons ago. This is when the Red Wings were fighting to scrape into the playoffs. They had a little bit of a late rut, that 7-game 0-point streak that really crippled them. But they ended the season tied in points with the Washington Capitals for the last wild card spot, but with the Capitals getting some critical wins against the Red Wings in the last, week or two of the regular season. That ended up, getting them the tiebreaker and the difference maker, being the deciding factor. I think the Capitals as well had the edge in the regulation points percentage. I think that's another deciding factor in the tiebreakers. But anyways, these two teams tied, but it was the Capitals that went into the playoffs and the Red Wings missed the playoffs. Last season, the Capitals had a great season, one of the best teams in the regular season. And starting the season, it looked to be that way again for the Capitals. They were one of the top teams in that other Eastern Conference division, the Metropolitan Division. But in the same stretch that the Red Wings have really been excelling since the start of December, that's when the Capitals have really started to struggle. They won 3 of their first 4 games to start December, and then they went on a streak where they just lost a lot. As a matter of fact, a stretch where they lost 6 out of 7, only 2 of those losses coming into overtime, so they got a point out of that, and then their lone win against the Maple Leafs. But the 2 Red Wings losses are in that stretch as well. And since the calendar has flipped to January, it's been really inconsistent. Back-to-back losses, a win, loss, win, loss, win. 4 straight losses. Brutal stretch. The Sharks, the Panthers, the Avs, and the Canucks. Man. Especially, how do you lose to the Canucks after they trade Quinn Hughes? And I think that was after they made another trade as well Connor Sherwood, I believe. I mean, how? How are you losing to that Canucks team? Canucks easily the worst team in the NHL this season, in my opinion, especially after those trades. And this Washington team lost to that Canucks team. Absolutely brutal. Bounced back with a win against the Flames 3-1, but then losing again their last two games against the Oilers in overtime and against the Seattle Kraken coming into tonight's game. So the Capitals are just 3-6-1 in their last 10 games. Mentioned really since mid-December, this team has just been really struggling after they had a pretty strong start to the season. And as of right now, they are 8 points out of the wild card. They are, however, only 6 points out of the Metropolitan top three. Obviously, the Metropolitan, the weaker of the two Eastern Conference divisions, with the Hurricanes at the top, and then it's all kind of meh from there. But regardless, Capitals are kind of lagging behind since that mid-December mark when the Red Wings were able to get back-to-back wins in that home-and-home against the Capitals. So the Red Wings need to try to bounce back in this one. John Gibson in net mentioned he did. I mean, he's been solid. I mean, that's pretty much a given at this point, which is a nice change for this Red Wings team. We talked about their kind of goalie inconsistencies the last few years. Gibson is net. I mean, he's been solid. As a matter of fact, in that stretch since the start of December for the Red Wings, he has been actually statistically the best goalie in the NHL in that stretch. So that's definitely good. Red Wings, meanwhile, Simon Edvinsson, he is still out with a lower body. He's actually not due back until after the Olympic break. And boy, you could kind of sense that in the last game against the Kings. Boy, this Red Wings team really needed Simon Edvinsson, that nice, steady, consistent defensive presence next to Mo Seider. Instead, it's been kind of a rotating cast of characters next to Seider there on the top defensive line. But the Red Wings, again, they got just a couple games left until the Olympic break. They've got, of course, the Capitals tonight, the Avs on Saturday. They got the Mammoth on Wednesday, and then that's it. So they got 3 games left. 4 games left. They actually have a second game against the Avs. I missed that one. So the home and home with the Avs. So they got 4 games, including tonight, until the Olympic break. And, of course, we will have 3 Red Wings to watch in that time. We've got Larkin with Team USA. We've got Mo Seider with Germany. And we've got Lucas Raymond with Sweden. And news coming out yesterday, ahead of the March 6th trade deadline, Red Wings hoping to add a second-line center and a right-handed defenseman ahead of the trade deadline, which, a part of that, they're trying to target players with term remaining on their contracts and not interested in rentals. So I'm assuming this means as well they would probably be open to, perhaps an immediate contract extension. We have seen that in the past where as soon as a player gets traded, they immediately sign a contract extension with that new team. So I'm assuming the Red Wings would be open to something like that. And again, the Red Wings have cap space. They have a ton of cap space right now. So they definitely have money on the books to add. But the Red Wings, I mentioned that. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, obviously the top of their lineup is excellent. You got your Larkin, your Raymond, your Alex DeBrincat. Your Patrick Kane is in there. Mo Seider. Simon Edvinsson, of course, is hurt. Your top 2 defensemen on the team. They just extended Ben Sherratt, I think, is a solid 3rd defenseman on this team. And then other, some depth pieces that have performed pretty well this season. Emmett Finney, he's made a pretty big impact. JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, he's really stepped up in the last few weeks. But the Red Wings just, looking for some more depth, specifically defensive depth. if they can have, two solid lines, two solid forward lines, and two solid defensive lines, I think this Red Wings team, could really make a push in the postseason. And obviously they've really, established themselves as, a lot more of a consistent team than we've seen the last couple of years, which is a huge step forward for this team as they try to not only get back into the playoffs, but be a playoff mainstay for years to come. Talk about the similar trajectory of the Tigers. But this article I'm reading as well, a couple of potential fits for the Red Wings based on, fitting what the Red Wings want, second-line center and a right-handed defenseman, and having term left on their contract, not trading for an expiring contract. The names floated out there are Nazem Kadri, Vincent Trocheck of the Rangers, and then defenseman Dougie Hamilton and Justin Falk, potential options as well. Of course, all those players are on some struggling and underperforming teams that could be selling at the deadline. I mean, the Rangers, I expect a fire sale from them. I don't think they expected the season to go as poorly as it has. So Trocheck definitely. And then, Kadri as well. I've seen his name come up in trade rumors as well. So we'll see. Could be pretty interesting. And keep in mind the Red Wings have some draft capital as well. The only trade that they've made with a draft pick recently is in the John Gibson trade. They gave up a 2027 second-round pick, but that's it. The Red Wings have all their own picks, so they have those available as well. So the Red Wings, look for them to upgrade ahead of the trade deadline. Again, we still got time, March 6th. It's after the Olympic break, but should definitely be interesting to pay attention to. Again, we've got Red Wings and Capitals this evening. Puck drop is at 7:30 on our sister station, WKHM, Jackson's News Talk, 970 AM and 101.5 FM.
If you missed today's installment of On the Docket, podcast it at foxsports1019.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to tune in live weekdays at noon on Jackson's Fox Sports 101.9 FM.